What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Team Solemn Circus live video. On the left side here, we have Swordsoul going up against Branded Despia. You know, this is one of the best decks of the format. People are saying it's going to be picking up a lot more hype due to Ashe no longer being played as much. You know, with Hita being played in those fire decks, you definitely do not want to be playing Ashe, letting your opponent essentially get a free copy of Princess onto the field, which is quite good. Before we dive into for like comment, subscribe, we are going to be seeing Branded Despia going first. I think I think Swordsoul might get a little bit more popular due to Duel also being a staple in the main deck as well. You know, could see a lot of play. We're going to be setting one card and normal summoning Cartesia here. Not the greatest hand from the hands of Branded Despia. This is quite difficult. We are going to be seeing a Ecclesia being summoned out by our opponent. They're going to be able to activate the effect to summon a copy of a Swordsoul from the deck, most likely a Moyi, but we do hit them with an Ash Blossom there, so we are still playing Ashe. This could be potentially due to the fact that we might see crosses in the build as well. You know, still a good card. We're going to see them special summon out the Ashina here. And it looks like we're looking through our extra deck. So do we have potentially a copy of Super Poly to go into? No, it looks like we're just going to be doing nothing here. Okay. So we're going to see them go for a copy of the Tenyi. Activate the effect of the Emergence to search. For a copy of Moyi, which most likely means we have another card in hand. We are revealing the Long Young here. And we are going to be reading this. So, on the summon of the token, we're going to be using the copy of the token as well as Moyi to go for a copy of the Garua, and then we can actually activate the effect of Cartesia here to go for the copy of the Granganol using itself and the Garua. We also get additional draw. We do see we're discarding the Thrust there. So we're going to be sending Albion from the extra deck, and we get a draw. We do get to banish the Ashina to summon out a copy of like the Vashuda here. And then we are going to activate the effect of the Granganol banishing itself to then summon, most likely going for a copy of the Quertus. And then we get to link away here for a copy of the second Monk. We can activate the effect of the Quertus to make everything become 0, which is what we're doing. So now we have 2 0 monks on the field. Then we do have the Heavenly Circle to tag out, going for a copy of the Adhara. I think we could potentially even go for a Taya there, but we want to be going for the Long Young. So we go for Long Young to summon itself out. Don't have another worm in the hand, which makes sense. Then we're going to be synchroing off into a copy of the Sinister, dealing 12. Then we get to banish to add back. Adding back the Ashina here. And we're just going to reorganize the grave there, because it is important that you do maintain the correct grave state. So we do take the battle phase. We attack for 20 and 9. Then we set an additional card and pass here. And we do have the effect of the Albion to be able to add a copy of Branded Fusion, perhaps, from the deck. And we also have the Cartesia to add back to the hand, which is very nice as well. I wish that you could actually trigger the effects of the monsters in your extra deck. That'd be absolutely crazy. But like bouncing back would just not do anything. We're going to see them pass turn and we draw for turns. Now we had a +2, plus a 3. We got a draw, a search. So we're going to be summoning out the Albaz, activating the effects here. Sending a copy of the Fusion Deployment. They do have the Imperm, which is fine. We have Cartesia who can special summon herself out. You just have to be careful of the Sinister here. We're going to activate the Branded Fusion. It's going to get banished, paying 12 from the Sinister there. By banishing it, we have to essentially put another copy in rotation for our Fusion Duplication or a copy of Retribution here, which is really nice. We just sent Albaz as well as the Gimmick Puppet here, so going for that copy of Lubellion. This is going to make it so that no matter what, we can still activate the effect. And if it gets banished, we can still shuffle it back anyways here. Rather than like for the Albion, we would be able to be stuck. So we're going to send a copy of Cartesia, maybe having another copy of it already. And also, if they don't choose to banish it, we get to shuffle back the copy of the Garangidal, getting another use of it, which is really good for us. So they don't choose to banish it back, or banish it, so we are going to be shuffling back the Albaz as well as the Garangidal. Just going for a copy of the Mirror Jade, and so now on summon we can actually activate the effect if he chooses to try to banish it there. Which I believe he is going to do. So we're going to be chaining, and we're going to be sending the Titaniclad here. And then we are going to take with Talents. And that's quite nice for us. I was going to say, why are we banishing the Monk? But we have the Talents, which is kind of the play. There might have been a world where we actually take with Talents first. I guess we never had a chance because we always had the copy of whatever. So then we're going to go end phase, we're going to give it back, and then we're going to be seeing the effect of Mirror Jade Destroy. Then we get to add back the Cartesia, and we get the effect of the Titaniclad. Summon out a Quem from the deck, and then Quem can dump potentially a copy of Albaz if we wanted to, so then we can get the summon back out, and then use it, because we don't really have any other targets in graveyard that's good for Albaz, which is kind of unfortunate, but we do pass on this, and we know they have the Ashna in the hand, so they kind of have to have another good top deck. And we do see an Ash Blossom, so they could actually summon out the Ashna here, summon itself out, then normal summon Ash if they wanted to go for it into a copy of Barone, but unfortunately it's not going to do enough for them because they will have to, like, I guess, if they go for Barone, we activate Quem, they chain, then they gate, then they pop. We're essentially going to be left on, like, during this next turn, they can just tag out. They can beat over our monsters too. So they can, like, pop the Quem and then attack into the Albaz, leaving us Lubellion on the field, dealing some damage. And then during the standby phase, they can actually summon back out their copy of Sinister, so that they have, like, 2 more essentially banishes, or, you know, burns essentially is the key part there. They go for a Monk instead, then we're going to activate the effect of Albaz, summoning herself out, then activating the effect, sending the Cartesia to fuse with the Monk, going for the second copy of the Mirror Jade there, and this is going to be game itself. Yeah, I definitely think that we probably should have just... And I see them trying to normal summon Ash, activate, they go into a Typhon. We are just going to be going for the banishment instead. And then we just say Quem is OP, but yeah, so scoop it up there. I think maybe the normal summon of Albaz, or normal summon out the Ash after we summon out the thing is probably a bit better. I'm trying to think. Like, they do have the copy of the Spell Engrave, so maybe they're trying to hope for getting greedy. But, like, when you know we have Albaz, like, you know everything on the field. We knew everything other than his unknown Ash in hand. So I guess, like, maybe he wanted to play around, like, pretending that card's, like, an actually good card. But if it's, like, a Mogi, he normally summons it afterward. Doesn't do anything. So he has to start with it. And, like, I guess the only good card it can be is Taya. Or, like, a Talents. And even then, it's just not that hot. But we're going to be seeing them go into Game 2. We know that Swordsoul is a very high advocate for playing those cards like Summon Limits now, as well as Anti-Spell, because Anti-Spell is still at 3 for some reason, the best floodgate in the game. Choosing to leave that at 3 is kind of wild to me, but whatever. And we know Brandon gets hit hard by Anti-Spell, so we might be seeing some of that Anti-Spell hate being smashed down. Obviously, you know, Cosmic is going to be a main factor of everyone's side deck these days, being one of the best cards in the entire game. So that's pretty nice. But diving on into game 2 here, we are going to be seeing Swordsoul choosing to go first. Now, they did see Super Poly in the deck the previous game, so do they go for maybe a Barong board instead? Barone, so you can't get hit with that Super Poly. We're seeing them go for a copy of the Adhara, then go for the effect of Heavenly, to go for a top Moyi. Moyi activate the effect, reveal some of the token, link away for a copy of Chijiao. Chijiao, as well as Moyi, going to be able to search and draw. Looks like we drew into an Emergence, which is pretty nice as well. So we can search for the Blackout. Unless they already have one in hand. I do see a purple card. We're going to see them search for a Longyong instead here. So we're going to see them activate Longyong, sending the Summit to summon out the copy of the token. I've seen Summit been played in more and more lists. Being able to bring back out monsters is very powerful, especially when you can link away or synchro away your copy of the Chijiao, and then you can just bring it back with Summit. It's quite good. We do see them go for a Baron, and then set 2 pass here, which is quite nice. And then in the draw phase, we see that anti-spell, that devilish card with the Gorin. And we just put the card on the top of the deck and say, yeah, that's that. Not much you can do against an anti-spell, to be honest, especially when it's backed up with a negate as well as a Veiler, which is pretty nice, if I do say so myself. That's unfortunately, that's the game lately, You see your floodgates, even if they're not monster floodgates, or even if they're not trap floodgates, we know of other floodgates, which brings us to the point of, do you guys think Appaloosa is a floodgate? Typhon is definitely a floodgate. But, a monster that has certain potential to do stuff, we had a debate at a local the other day, how Appaloosa could be a floodgate, and then somebody else said that, SP can also kind of be like a floodgate, because it just keeps coming back. I mean, floodgates that I remember is, Dueler. It activates effects once, and it's conditionally applied. Now, with SP and Appaloosa, it's you can only use them so many times, or you can, can't really play around them, I guess, is the kind of stuff. You can always beat over it. You can't really beat over a floodgate, but you see Typhon. Typhon definitely is a floodgate of sorts. But we are going to be seeing Branded into Game 3 going first. This is the strongest part of Branded. Obviously going to be able to Puppet Lock, potentially. I think the percentage of Puppet Lock is quite high at this point. We're not playing the Maximus build. I don't think that card is really necessarily good. Especially if you want to play Super Poly. I think the Super Poly is just so much better this format. I think that you can still play Nadir, yes. Obviously, with Droll, the deck is a little bit weaker, and that's what Nadir Servant. But Nadir Servant never serves the purpose of the first action you do. It's always the last action, or if your Branded Fusion gets ashed. And if your Branded Fusion gets ashed, Nadir Servant, you're not getting Drolled. So, unless they, Droll your Aluber search, which is, so you have to have Droll, Ash, and you have to have, Aluber, plus Nadir Servant. It's that's just not impactful, which is why I'm only playing 2 of it compared to the 3 Super Polys that I think it's just so much better. So we're going to see draw phase opening, sending the Cartesia, going for a copy of the Aluber. Aluber is going to activate its effects here, searching us for a copy of Branded Fusion, most likely. And so now we have successfully played around Droll. Now, can we play around Ash Blossom? We're going to be seeing this activate the effect of Fusion deployment here, showing the Granguinol, summoning out the second Cartesia. And then we are going to be playing Branded Fusion. We see that Ash Blossom, which is quite alright. Then we normal summon out the Quem, activate the effect here. So we have the Gas. We probably send Retribution here, right? Or just Albaz, I guess. Albaz, because we can set up the Branded and Red line. Then we're going to activate the effect here, going for a copy of the the Granguinol. Granguinol can dump. And we can also chain the effect here of Quem to bring back out the Cartesia. feel like you bring back Cartesia there because you can just, yeah. And then we're going to dump here. Dumping the Gimmick Puppet from the deck. Then we just set a card and pass here. So now what we have essentially is if our opponent goes into the extra deck or summons a monster, we can actually go Granganol, go into a Queritus, chain the effect here of, well, Quem's going to summon out back the Albaz. Then we can go Cartesia plus Albaz to go into a copy of Sanctifier Dragon. And then Sanctifier can bring out the Gimmick Puppet as well as the Aluber here. We can get a search and then obviously locking our opponent. So we're going to see them activate the Desires from the top of the deck here. We don't have any cards in the hand. I don't know what that face down is, but it's going to be fine. They draw into 2 cards here, which is quite nice. They essentially need an Imperm to stop this. We're going to see them go for the activate Ashina here. And so the Tengies make us essentially have this board even being potentially open. We have to activate the effects. So on this, then we go we're supposed to go. Then we're going to go Quem instead. Okay, summon back the Albaz, and we're going to activate the effect of the Cartesia. Just go into the copy of Sanctifier. Sanctifier can then activate its effects on summon, giving them the copy of the Puppet, as well as giving us the Aluber here. Then Aluber's going to activate its effects, letting us search. We can actually search for the Retribution if we have a Super Poly set, which is really cool. If Super Poly is set, you can search for Retribution, which essentially just lets you pitch it off the Super Poly, which is really nice. A lot of players don't ever think about that. Like, so rather than searching for that branded fusion there, and if we have Super Poly send it itself, you're getting another copy of Branded Fusion in the hand anyways by banishing that Retribution. We're going to see them activate the Emergence to search for a copy of the Longyon for the follow-up here. I mean, Aluber has 0 defense. We probably should have left it in attack position, but I guess it does not matter. We also kind of want to have some cards engraved. Like, we want to essentially leave our field open so we can play some of those better cards. Like, we want to be able to leave Quem and the Albion as well as the Granganol on the field. So just going to be passing on that. We do activate Branded Fusion here. There's no Ash. So we send the Albaz as well as the Albion here. We're just going to go for the copy of, or Lubellion here, going for the copy of Albion. Albion can then activate its effects, banishing one of the Albaz's. And we did forget about, nothing hit the grave, so actually we didn't forget about Cartesia. But we're going to see an Imperm on the copy of the Quem, who wants to summon back out the Cartesia. But we do have the Super Poly. And I go for Dragostapelia here. Oh, they were trying to target the Albion so we couldn't fuse. Okay, that makes sense. Because once the Cartesia gets itself on the field, then we're playing around the Imperms anyways. And then we do have the Banish to summon. And so we're going to be banishing the Albion as well. Or the Albion as well as the Albaz. Go for a Mirror Jade. And like, this is going to be just game on board. You know, battle phase, attack. We didn't even have to turn. We didn't even put Granganol in defense and attack position here. We're going to be seeing the effect of the Tenyi activate its effects. Summon it back out, and they do pop a card here. Like, definitely that Granganol should be in attack position. That would have been game. And this is during damage step, so we cannot respond, unfortunately for us. You know, it could have been potentially when they activate it, we just go chain, but we're going to see attack. And then we're still winning because we can just summon out the Gaming Puppet once again to their side of the field. Like, we're not in bad position. We just essentially just threw game for no necessary reason. And here we are going to be seeing a pass turn on this. There's nothing else we can necessarily do. I guess we can add back the Cartesia during the end phase. Then we just draw for turn. And here we can just go Sanctifier, act for the effect, giving them Puppet and us the Mirror Jade here. They're especially hoping to have a top deck of an Imperm. But unfortunately, they don't. They had to burn it during the other turn, which if they didn't burn it, I don't think they would have been able to win at all. We see the Mirror Jade come back onto the field here, and at this point, there's nothing they can do. They see all the monsters in their hand, and Brandon end up taking the win here once again. Regardless, hope you guys enjoyed. I did make a little bit of a misplay there. Probably should have searched for that copy of Retribution, but in the case of them not being able to extend really, Burn Infusion was the right play, because then you can't just discard it. You're not going to be able to discard it. You don't want to have a Retribution in the hand. There, let us go for our copy of the Mirror Jade, which is quite nice. We should have put the Granite on attack position, but that's just a little bit of a mistake we made. Regardless, hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I want to see more content like this. Stay safe. Peace.